Hi everyone, welcome to this reading. I have my crystal ball off to the side, so I will be scrying throughout this message. If you're new to my channel, my readings are a little different, and if you're returning, welcome back. You know how we do. If it doesn't resonate with you, if you're forcing the story to fit, arguing with it in any way, just leave it behind for the people who it's meant for. So tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over Zoom, it's the HEKATE Halloween, which is a special event between myself and iScry with Steph. She'll be dropping some ink, I will be laying some cards, and we'll be channeling messages for the collective that attends this event. So if you're interested, the link for that's in the description box below, and we'll close that about an hour, half an hour before the event begins. Okay, let's go ahead and let's begin. Taking a step aside and allowing spirit to pass through me. Opening up to receive information. I just saw like a bunch of crows. There's like this like quiet hush that's like coming before like this opening up of something. There's this like deep reflective energy that's taking place, almost like if someone were to feel that they were getting smaller and smaller and smaller inside themselves, and then it's like it goes supernova. Wow, there's like a profound cathartic event and transformative event that's like coming for somebody, and whoever's message this is, you know that it's coming. Like, you know that something has to give. You know that there's something that's about to, it's like bursting forward from the center, because you've gone so far inward. You've gone so far inward. This is possibly a self-initiated process. And it seems like it's almost like the wings then start spinning on the central axis as I'm seeing them, because I'm seeing like these wings covering someone. And it's almost as though, it's like collecting psychic energy back into someone's self. And as they do so, that psychic energy becomes extremely powerful, and it starts to move around, and it feels like the solar plexus. It's like suddenly, it's like someone reawakens to the fact of like who they are. They remember who they are. Ooh, okay. Interesting. All right. There's some level of really protecting the self taking place in this space of deep inward journeying that someone is doing. So there's this 9 of Wands energy, right? And the 9 of Wands here is really representing like the barrier that we're placing. So whoever this message is for, you may have erected like certain boundaries recently, and this has been coming out for this collective, and it's definitely boundaries against this type of energy. This is the cute, I know, but it's the 5 of Swords, right? This is people who are very conflictual, situations that cause you a lot of drama, groups of people or family members that are trying to win at all costs, right? It can be one or all of those things for some of you. But this type of energy, that 5 of Swords energy, that's an energy that we're trying to protect ourselves from as we're going within. This may be what you're pulling your psychic energy away from. There may have been something quite disruptive inside of your life that you're pulling your psychic energy away from. And as you're doing that, it's almost like it's like all the energy is now flowing to the correct and appropriate place. Maybe before you had already thought that that was happening, but it's like there's something that's recently happened or something that you're undergoing that is now causing all of that energy to be directed towards some sense of identity or some sense of I, or some decision that somebody has recently made about how they want to unfold. And this is why I'm getting that feeling of like supernova. It's like there's this one shell that keeps the container. It doesn't feel like in a healthy way. It feels a little bit like an armor. It keeps something kind of stuck. It's almost like a box. And because we're directing so much energy inward, that box can't hold it and it breaks. This is in a very profound and freeing way. On the membership side, I posted a video about what a deep space object, which represents the underworld, what that means when it passes close to the sun. Perihelion was yesterday, and so perihelion being when it's the close, when 31 Alice would be closest to the sun, and what an object like that being close to the sun means in terms of things coming from the deep subconscious realm, right? There's almost this, the magician, funny, it's almost like this, it's like pulling a rabbit out from the hat, right? There's some sort of illumination or insight that comes from nowhere. The rabbit's significant here because this is something that is going to continue to be important until spring, where we have this energy that I've been talking about on the channel for months now, where it's almost like the changing of the guard, right? Where the life that we've lived before that is being set up for a new life. For a very new version of ourselves, if we're investing in ourselves, if we're doing the work now. And whoever this collective is, I see that you are doing that. But there's something very magical about this time in that we're beginning to have access to information and some very deep-seated material that we didn't have access to before, right? It took something from that sort of like deep, unconscious layer to come bubbling up so that we could see, wow, like this is what I have to work with. There's something here about new journeys and new aspirations that's coming up, but even though we know that this is something that's happening here with the Fool card, there is this sense of still allowing what's recently taken place and transpired to turn, right? To transform on some very deep cathartic level. When we talk about the Death card, it is that changing of the guard. When you look at the Rider-Waite Death card, and in this particular Death card, he's kind of watering these pumpkins, right? And these pumpkins, they shine with their own light. So some of you are starting to feel illuminated in a very new way. You're starting to feel like certain things are starting to come back online. For some of you, you may be noticing that certain spiritual abilities are starting to open up or reawaken. I am seeing a lot of deja vu comments, for example. People have been saying a lot of things to me about deja vu, so this might be something that you're experiencing. There's a lot of telepathic information being exchanged right now as well, collectively. And new ideas, new inspirations are things that are coming to the surface. But it's almost like we're putting all of those things on a little bit of a hold right now, whoever this message is for. And it's because you've gone so far inward. Now, yesterday's message and the day before's might resonate with you if this one's resonating for you, because those two messages were for somebody who isn't necessarily meant to act right now. They're really processing some very deep transformative changes. And these transformative changes are basically creating the ground on which they're planting a seed that comes to manifest in the spring. So that's kind of what I'm seeing here also. It's like there's this cycle that's taking place in this transformation where it's like we're consulting with the serpents of the underworld, right? We're receiving the wisdom of the underworld terrain, of our subconscious, of our shadow. And there's information coming up that we did not have access to before. But because we have access to this, it's almost like because we're so tapped into the psychic level of reality that it's allowing these gifts and these seemingly odd serendipitous occurrences to take place. Maybe you're noticing that numbers are repeating for you more than they ever have. Maybe you're noticing that you think of people and then they contact you more than that ever used to happen. It's like something is on a certain level, but that volume has been turned up. And it's because you're operating on this very deep psychic level right now. And when we talk about a psychic level, what we're talking about is that level of interconnection. We're not necessarily talking about psychic phenomenon. We're talking about a very deep level of the collective consciousness that is highly psychic. So because of that, it's very important at this time, especially with these boundaries, and this may be one of the reasons why whoever this message is for, you're unconsciously doing this, where you're just kind of going within and pulling everything inward, and kind of self-protecting, is because you have to have a good barrier between yourself and everything else when you're healing, right? It's when you're going through this process of really digging up personal how do I want to put this? Like, I don't want to say muck, because it's not muck, right? But it's the stuff inside that still has to be integrated and it has to be alchemized in some way. Now, there's this material on a collective level as well, but it's giving me the essence that at this time it's not the collective level that needs to be processed. It's very individual, and by pulling that psychic energy back and kind of being quiet and laying low, right? It's illuminating this solar plexus energy in this very spiritually healing way, right? This is where we jumpstart our evolution. It starts with the sun, right? Remember that the sun is synonymous with your consciousness. It's what gives the energy for your consciousness. This is why ancient cultures believed it was like the life giver in that way, that it is the source of chi, right? For this planet. So there is something here inside of this energy right now where there's an illumination that's coming forward. And because it's paired with this solar energy within the body, there's certain confines that are being broken down. Again, like I said, it's that energy of that supernova. We have the tower showing up again today here. And what this is revealing is what was already there, something that we never quite saw, right? And this is this Empress energy, whether you're male or female. Now, this Empress energy is really talking about our divine sort of, our divinity in this mother creator sort of way, right? There's the masculine creator, and then there's the mother creator. And this is the gestational energy. So the one that conceives of the ideas, the one that is able to have new inspirations and contain them within itself to allow those inspirations to grow, right? Before the masculine creator goes out and activates them. So this is really getting in touch with a very important aspect of self that's not only inside of you, it's mirrored in your universe. One could argue that the universe itself is the mother creator, right? It's that womb-like vessel that contains us. And so in connecting with this source inside of ourselves, what we're doing is we're connecting with the greater whole. And this is why it's such a deep psychic layer. It's intrinsically interwoven between the internal world and the external world. And this is why it's important at this time that this sort of container be broken open, not because we're losing ourself to the all. In fact, that's the exact opposite of what this boundary is talking about. It's having those barriers and those boundaries while not being confined, right? That's a very beautiful balance that takes place there. It's where we become extremely powerful as an individual, but we're still able to connect and flow with the universe. So this is something that's happening very rapidly. So whoever this message is for, you may be having very rapid insights, very rapid inspirations, rapid ideas. There may be just like one thing after another seeming to come up from these very deep unconscious layers that are now becoming conscious. And it might feel like you're doing a lot of work because of that. I said that and I looked over the Eight of Pentacles, the work card. But this is really how someone is investing in themselves. It's how they're nurturing into themselves. And I do see that whoever this message is for, you're dedicated to this, right? That's what the Queen of Pentacles is. She's one of the most loyal cards inside of the tarot. And this is a very similar theme to what's been coming out in the last 3 days, which tells me that it is very important what's been taking place energetically on a collective level for the last 3 days. I do think that this is something that's going to continue probably towards like the middle of November is how this feels. So we have this whole alchemical process that's taking place here. And again, we have that symbol of the feminine creator, the cauldron, right? Now, we're getting one more card here. Again, we have the evil eye in the background, meaning really protecting ourselves from energies that don't mean us well while we're going through this protective process. It's kind of like when the caterpillar is inside the cocoon, right? It's like that protective shell that makes sure that the process doesn't get interrupted. And that's what's happening here. For some of you, there may be an innate understanding about that. So you may have been secluding a little bit more because you know that this process can't get interrupted. Yeah. We have the Fool card here. Okay. And then the bottom, I am going to say this, we have the Strength card. the hounds of Hades, right? The gates of hell. It's like the gates of the underworld of self have opened, and something is emerging that's ready now to be seen. It's ready to be dealt with now. And this is allowing the momentum and the fuel and that spark, that thrust of that like supernova star that's creating this new beginning for somebody, right? So we have the Fool showing up twice in this reading. We have it here in this deck, and then we have it over here in this deck. So there's definitely a profound new beginning. I do think that for some of you, this new beginning looks completely different than anything you've experienced. And that's not to tell you something you don't know. That's confirming something that someone already knows. I do think that many of you who this reading is for, even the last few weeks, have been extremely transformative for you. And there's this sort of discovering a part of ourselves, or discovering an identity within ourselves that we were never able to see before. And the moment that this sort of limitation is how that box feels, the moment that this limitation breaks open because it can't contain the sheer amount of psychic energy that we're pulling back into ourselves as we're connected to this psychic layer, it's like that moment that butterfly bursts forth from that cocoon into a completely different creature than it was when it went in, right? There's a very, very, very profound transformation taking place here for somebody. And it's not that you needed to change necessarily, but you definitely needed to untether yourself from certain things. There's a lot of wisdom that has occurred within this process also. And certain things have been very precisely measured. So there are some of you who you may have had some very practical steps to go through this process. The reason why I'm saying that is because she's got these measuring spoons above her cauldron. She's such a precise little witch, and it's really speaking to me about making sure that we take things in stride, right? I'm able to handle this. Now I'm going to munch on this a bit. Now I'm able to handle this, and I'm going to munch on this. And you may be noticing that it's coming a little faster, and it may almost seem a little harder than you can handle for some of you. Others of you, I think that you're really in the swing of things. It's how it feels, like you're really in the swing of things. I do know that whoever this message is for, I think that today crows are going to be very significant for you today as a sign. Okay, crows, the number 3, and maybe even the symbol of the evil eye, quite possibly irises as well. And the sunflower. Okay. So I'm going to leave this here. So if this resonates with you, please hit that like button. Feel free to leave me a comment. And until next time.